Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today is Monday, which means it's time for an episode of Loadout, the series where you guys, the viewers, get to pick a gun and customization for me to use. The way you do this is you leave a comment in the comment section letting me know what kind of weapon and attachments you'd like me to run with, and I will look through some of the top rated comments and pick one for the next episode of Loadout. Today's top comment comes from 1501 Abe, if I'm saying your name right, and he suggests the MG36 holo sight, no attachment, heavy barrel, sidearm of your choice, no bipod, offensive gameplay. I loved this gun a lot before they patched away the extended mag, and I want to hear your opinion about it. Well, I gotta say, a lot of people share your sentiment where they really just loved the MG36 when it had that 100 round magazine, and then after DICE took it away, which I'm guessing is accidental. I think we pretty much figured out it was accidental. They're not too reliable with these patches and keeping the guns consistent, but now that it's only got 50 rounds in the magazine, the gun kind of falls short in certain areas. It's not to say it's a bad weapon, it's just it seems like it was really designed to have 100 round magazines. I mean, look at the double drum mag down there. Does that look like a 50 round magazine? No, it looks more like a 100 round magazine. However, if we do take away extended mags, or rather don't have it available, we do have the option of equipping stuff like a suppressor or a laser sight, or even a heavy barrel, which is what I'm using for this loadout here. Now, the heavy barrel modifies this gun like it does every other gun. It makes it more accurate for aiming down sights fire, and it also increases the damage over range. It does, however, come with the penalty of decreasing your hipfire accuracy. So good for aiming down sights, bad for hip firing, and good for long range encounters generally. Now, the MG36 has your standard assault rifle damage capacity coming in at 25 max and 18.4 minimum with a 750 round per minute rate of fire. The MG36 is nearly identical in many ways to the L86 A2 or the M27 IAR. Both those guns have the exact same rate of fire score, and they also have the exact same damage model. So potentially they all have the exact same damage output. They just differ in certain areas of recoil, accuracy, magazine capacity, and reload times. Now, a small advantage that the MG36 has over the L86 or the M27 is that it has 5 more rounds in its magazine than those other weapons do. So it comes in at 50 rounds per magazine instead of the 45 that the M27 and L86 have. However, having 5 extra bullets in a magazine is nothing to turn your nose up at. It's really not that important in a magazine of this size, and unfortunately they counter that extra 5 bullets with a significantly longer reload on the MG36. Clocking in at 3 seconds if you still have a bullet in the chamber, and a whopping 4.7 seconds if you've expended all your ammo. This is almost on par with some of the box-fed magazines, and it's a pretty darn long reload, especially for a gun that only has 50 rounds per magazine. And I say only kind of lightly because this gun, although 50 seems like a lot, the gun's not super accurate to begin with, and it has a decent amount of vertical recoil, so you often end up going through all your ammunition, especially if you're holding off on that reload because you anticipate somebody else to be around the corner. You can easily get 2 or 3 kills with this gun, but if you find yourself out of bullets, it's going to be a long reload process. Now, if we did have the extended mags instead of the heavy barrel, then the reload time would be more forgivable because you'd have 100 rounds to go through. Most people probably wouldn't even end up reloading this gun before they are gunned down by an opponent anyway. So having 100 rounds in this would make a lot more sense to have the reload time, but when they force you to a 50 round magazine and then give you a reload that's way higher than the M27 or L86, it doesn't make a lot of sense, especially considering that the MG36 is not necessarily any more accurate than the M27 or L86. Now, this gun also has a pretty high vertical recoil, clocking in at 0.45. Now, to get some perspective on 0.45, when you put a heavy barrel on this gun, it bumps it up to around 0.48, and that's almost 5. And the M60 has a 0.6 vertical recoil. So if you think about it, you're giving this gun some significant vertical recoil kickback, which makes it kind of hard to hit targets at long range, sort of making the heavy barrel addition to this weapon seem not so useful all of a sudden. Sure, you can get kills at long range, but you're not going to be particularly outgunning anybody with this weapon, and you're definitely going to have to take longer periods between firing than you would want to, because the recoil just gets so out of control at longer ranges. Medium range, the gun is fine, but again, you're not going to really be outgunning any sort of assault rifle. And in fact, if you have something like the M27 IAR, you're probably going to be shooting even more accurately. Although I will say the differences between this and the M27 IAR and L86 in terms of accuracy is very minute. It's just those minute differences for somebody looking for a really good or a really agreeable gun can actually be the deciding factor in whether or not you're going to be using the MG36. Now, in terms of the holo sight that was picked out for this gun, I do not agree with it. I'm playing with it, but it is kind of a painful sight to use with this weapon because when you're caught in close quarter situations, this gun has terrible hipfire accuracy, especially after putting the heavy barrel on it. So all of a sudden you're hip firing in close quarters and you're just missing all your shots, so it forces you to try and aim down sights in close quarters, which is not ideal, but it's doable. Now, using a holo sight for aiming down sight in close quarters is an absolute nightmare because it reduces your sensitivity for aiming at longer range targets, which is not what you want in close quarters. So the holo sight actually ended up getting me killed quite a bit with this gun. And unfortunately, I just don't think it quite has the long distance accuracy to warrant a holo sight. I would much prefer a Cobra or red dot sight on this gun, with or without heavy barrel. Now, the MG36 really is a cool machine gun, and if anybody played Bad Company 2, you'll remember that this gun was a favorite among the medic class, and it really was a good gun. It was much more accurate and easier to control the recoil back then. And now it's just been given a pretty intense vertical recoil. It's, again, such a cool looking gun, especially with those dual drum magazines there. It'd be really great to see DICE either add that 100 magazine capacity, 100 round capacity back to the magazines, and potentially even reduce the vertical recoil a little. I'm not sure, but something to make it a little bit more competitive. In fact, 100 rounds might be enough to put it back on the battlefield there. The heavy barrel is an interesting addition, but the thing just has such annoying vertical recoil anyway that it becomes really hard to take down targets at long range effectively. And having a rate of fire of 750, although nice at longer ranges, really isn't going to do you any favors, especially when you're running into those M16s or AEKs. And let's be honest, if you've got 100 rounds, you're going to want to be up close and personal, taking out packs of guys, flanking around, catching 3 guys or more unaware, and just mowing them down with 100 rounds. It's going to be quite nice, and you don't really need a heavy barrel for that kind of close quarter action. So is this loadout usable? Sure, it's usable. The holo sight on paper makes sense if you think about it. You know, heavy barrel increases your accuracy at long range, increases your damage at long range, so put a holo sight on there, try and get some better accuracy. But if you saw right there from that clip, I was really putting down a lot of shots just to take out that guy at what I would not consider long range. I'd consider more of a medium range situation, and well, the end of medium range anyway, but it really did take a lot of rounds to put him down. So it's usable, but there's just so many other MGs out there that can really perform better than this weapon, both in close quarters and long range. This thing needs its extended mags back to shine like it did back in the glory days of just running and gunning with the MG36, extended mags, no heavy barrel, and taking out troves of enemies up close. So that's it for this episode of Loadout. DICE, if you're watching, please include in your next patch the extended mags back for the MG36. This is a bug that I know a lot of people were pretty upset about. If you guys enjoyed the video, please remember to rate it, and also leave your comments in the comment section letting me know what kind of weapon and accessories you'd like me to run with for the next episode of Loadout. I'll see you guys next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.